Okay, so we're going to install Sitecore 10.1 from scratch. So the first thing we need to do is to go to dev.sitecore.net and then download the packages for single installation. While it downloads, we go to the search bar and we open a PowerShell ISE session as administrator. We're going to the view menu and choosing show the script pane so we can edit our scripts. Then we are going to run this commandlet to allow execution of unsigned scripts, basically. Then we are going to run this commandlet to register the PowerShell repository for the Sitecore gallery. The next thing we are going to do is to install the Sitecore install framework module using this commandlet. We're going to use this commandlet to check the version that we installed for Sitecore install framework. In this case, it shows that it's the 2.3.0 version. The next thing we are doing is installing the IIS server, Internet Information Services for Microsoft. And we do that by going to the apps and features, then to the optional features option, and then to the more Windows features. Then we locate Internet Information Services and click on the checkbox and OK to install it. As, as we can see here, our Internet Information Services Manager is already installed, so IIS is running on the machine. And here we can check the version that we have, which is the 10.0 version, and it works very well with Sitecore. Okay, so the next thing we are going to install is .NET Core 2.1.3, which is the minimum version that you require to install Sitecore, but we're going to install the latest version, which is 3.1. So we're going to the Microsoft website and then download the .NET Core 3.1 installer, and then we execute it. Okay, so our next step is to install SQL Server. And for this step, I'm going to my Visual Studio, which is where I get my SQL Server installers from. And I am going to search for the SQL Server Developer Edition and download the ISO image so I can install it in my local. In the instance name section, I'm going to leave it as default. In the authentication mode, I'm going to choose mixed mode, and I'm going to give it a password for the SA account. Also, I am going to add my current user as an administrator on SQL Server. So once SQL Server is installed, the next step is installing Solr. So we need to go to the Solr downloads website and then downloading the zip package to install it in our local. So we pick any mirror of our choice and then we are going to go to the zip file that we just downloaded, and what we're going to do is extract the contents of this zip file. And after we extract them, we need to create a folder to place all of our packages and installers that we're going to use. So I'm going to create this folder named Sitecore in the root of my C drive. And then I go to the um, contents of the file I just downloaded, and I'm going to copy all the contents of this folder inside the Sitecore folder that I just created. Then as you can see, there are some files inside this folder that we are going to use later. So the next thing we need to do is to generate a self-signed certificate in order to make Solr run on HTTPS. So we do this by running this commandlet here. As you can see, I'm naming it as Solr cert to give it a friendly name to identify it when I create it. And I'm setting the expiration date for 10 years. So I'm going to run this commandlet, and what it's going to do is create a certificate inside my personal folder, inside my computer certificates. So I'm going to open this MMC computer certificate, this console, and I'm going to my personal folder. And inside this folder, I'm going to find the certificate I just generated. So as you can see in friendly name, you can see the name I just gave to it. So the next step will be to export this certificate so we can use it in our Solr installation. So we go to export, and then we choose the export a private key option. Then we're going to give it a password so it is encrypted. And we are going to give it a file name as well. We're going to place this in our Solr folder where we copied the files before. The next thing we will do is to copy our certificate into the Trusted Root Certification Authorities folder so it can be used without any warning inside the machine. So we can verify that our certificate is already in this folder. Okay, so once we have our certificate generated and exported, we are going to navigate to this bin folder inside our Solr folder, and we're going to locate this solr.in file, which we are going to edit in order to allow Solr to run on HTTPS. So we need to uncomment this section here, and it will allow us to enable SSL for Solr to run on HTTPS. So first we need to uncomment it, so remove the rem word at the beginning of these lines, and this is the Solr SSL key store, which is where Solr is the certificate was exported to. So this is my Solr root folder, and I'm going to copy this path, but I'm going to change the backslashes for regular slashes because that's the way Solr reads the paths. So we're going to change these backslashes. And then put the name of our generated certificate so it recognizes it. Then the next line is the password that we just set up for this certificate. The next line will be also the same path that we put in the first line, and this is the Solr SSL Trust Store. So the password will be the same as well, and we're going to put in the password in this line too. Then the next line that we need to edit and uncomment is the set Solr SSL need client auth, and this is going to remain as false. Also, this other line, which is SSL want client auth, also will remain false, but uncommented. And the next two lines are set Solr SSL key store type and Solr SSL trust store type, which is going to remain pkzs12. After we save this file, we need to download Java. So we go to the java.com downloads website, and then we download the latest version of Java for Windows. And after this is installed, we're going to navigate to the folder where Java was installed, which will be located inside the program files x86 folder. And we're going to copy the path because we're going to set up our Java home variable. So we need to go to this PC, right click on it, and then click on properties. Then you need to click on advanced system settings and then environment variables. Then you're going to create a new variable named Java underscore home. And you're going to paste the path that we just copied, but you're going to remove the characters after the A in program. So the path is going to look like this. Then you click OK. Then we are going to open a new PowerShell session and we're going to navigate to our Solr installation folder. Once inside, we're going to run this commandlet to start Solr. Now that Solr has been and run correctly, you're going to see this message asking you to allow it because Windows Defender Firewall is blocking it by default, but you can allow access. And then you can check that Solr is running on the port 8983. And as you can see, Solr is already running in this machine. You can also make Solr a service by using SNSS, but we are not going to do that in this video. So the next thing we're going to do is to check the version of PowerShell by running this commandlet. And as you can see, we have the version 5.1, which is good to install Sitecore. So we are going to go to the package that we downloaded from the Sitecore page, and we're going to extract its contents. Inside this file, we're going to find the 4 packages that are needed to install Sitecore. The last one, which is the configuration files, we're going to extract it, and we are copying all the contents inside this file, inside this folder, sorry, to the Sitecore folder that we created before. I'm going to create a new folder named install to not mix all the files inside this folder. So I'm going to create a separate subfolder named install, and I'm going to paste all the contents of the configuration files here. As you can see, we have this prerequisites.json file. So I am going back to my PowerShell ISE, and I will run this commandlet to install the Sitecore configuration. So this is going to take some time to install, but after it's finished, you're going to get this message that you need to open another PowerShell instance in order to run further SIF configuration. So we open a new PowerShell session, and then we're going to the folder that we downloaded from Sitecore, which contains the packages, and we're going to copy the 3 remaining packages, and we're going to place them inside our Sitecore install root folder. Then we go back to PowerShell ISE, and then we navigate to the install folder, and we locate the XP0 single developer script. We're going to edit this script in order to install Sitecore. So the first thing we need to look at is our license file. So you need a valid license to install Sitecore. So once you get your license file, you need to place it inside your install root folder. Then this is our install root folder. So we're going to tell Sitecore to look at this folder for the packages. We need to check also that the Solr root folder is correctly specified. So we're going to navigate to our folder where we installed Solr, and we are going to copy this path to be sure. Also check that the Solr service name is correctly specified. In this case, we change the 4 for 9. We're going to check the SQL Server name later. First, we're going to make sure that the password that we set for the SA user is correct. Now, these are the packages that we already copied to the folder in our install folder. So they should be there. So you verify they are inside your install root folder, and you don't change anything in this section. Now we verify everything else is fine. We don't change anything else. So the only thing that's missing is our SQL Server name. As you remember, we left our SQL Server name instance as with the default name. So all we need to put in here is the host name. So we locate the host name and we just type it in here. In the case that we created another instance of SQL Server rather than the default, we need to put a backslash and then the instance name. So after we have verified that everything is set up correctly, we hit the Save button and then we click on the Run button to run our script, which will install Sitecore. So after several minutes, you will see that Sitecore has been installed correctly, and it will throw a password that you need to save because that will be your admin password. Now you can check that Sitecore has been installed correctly by going to IIS and checking inside the sites folder that your XP0 website is up and running. So we're going to hit the browse website address, and it's going to show you this Sitecore welcome screen. Then you can add /Sitecore to access the admin console. Here you're going to input admin as your username and the password you just copied from the PowerShell window. Then you hit login and it should take you to the Sitecore Experience platform. So here you can navigate and check that everything is working correctly by opening the content editor or any other area of Sitecore that you wish to explore. So I hope you enjoyed this video and it was useful for you and your training. And if you have any comments or run into any issues, please let me know in the comments. So thank you for watching till the end, and I hope you have a great time.